Yo, it's crazy. So obviously we just saw everybody get let go at ESPN. It was, I mean, and they've had a lot of cuts before.
Yeah.
Stephen A did a good job of pointing that out on his show. Like, where were you in this year? And all these people got fired. And then this year, and all these people got fired.
Yeah.
But again, your boy Max got let go.
Yeah.
Who is one of my favorites, especially when it comes to boxing. I love when he is working the fights. You know, for people who don't know, Max Kellerman used to be a rapper.
Seriously.
Back
Don't even get him started. There's a clip out there of him.
Yeah.
York's a state, my city's in. A man who I hate, I pity him like a Branch Davidian. Got skills, got stamina, got hands of stone like the champ from Panama. Bodies drop for body shots, cause I could box, no need for clocks or karate chops.
But have you spoken with Max?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
How's he doing? And like for you to, you know, I mean, obviously as somebody who's kind of doing your own thing now, to witness a line of cuts like that happening. I mean, we're talking about Jeff Van Gundy.
I know.
Jalen Rose.
Yeah, those two. Those are the first two that caught me off guard. Max didn't catch
Van
me off guard.
Gundy? No, I think the Max thing we kind of saw coming.
Yeah, exactly.
But Jeff Van Gundy.
I was like, damn. But then all right, so Jeff Van Gundy, that one caught me the most off guard. But then my second mind kicked in, like, hey, bruh, he be going in on the NBA, which is a partner of ESPN.
Right.
I can understand that. Then you dive a little deeper, you realize maybe there was a little, drink of coffee and tea, and can you let him go, or else it's going to be tougher in our next negotiation. Maybe that. Jalen Rose caught me off guard. But then I was like, yeah, him and Max kind of in the same boat. They start chipping away at what your products are, your entities. So no more him, Jalen, and Jacoby. Then this happens.
Right, because the Jacoby Jalen show got cut first.
He got cut first. Yeah. Max, no first take for a while. This just in, which felt like a filler show. Like, all right, you're not here, here you go.
Yeah.
But I don't think Max leaves our show, leaves LA to do this just in. Mm-hmm. And people don't think like this, but you get that in Constellation. But this is why I left ESPN and left Sports Nation. It's one thing to be getting paid, and Max was getting paid. But he got paid to do first take. And now here they go with their plan B.
Like, okay, you don't, Stephen A don't want you on first take anymore. We got this for you.
Right.
Yeah.
But that ain't for you. That's just something to kind of fill the time.
It's something for us to justify us paying you still.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so there's a huge difference between them paying you and them supporting you.
Right.
Now, I felt at Sports Nation with all the rotating hosts and co-hosts, and I was like, they paying me, but I don't see foresight. I don't see runway. I don't see where they're all invested in the next 5 years of the show. And it was tough to call their bluff because every time you say that, they're like, oh, of course we are. Of course you are.
Right.
And then I said, all right, I'm going to leave. And as soon as I left, they canceled that show. Proving my point. I was on thin ice. The show was on thin ice.
Right.
One day they'll just wake up and be like, Sports Nation, it was novel back then, 10 years ago now. Everyone has a touchscreen. Yeah. Everyone interacts with the fans and social media. So I was like, I got ahead of that one. I felt the same for Max. I was thinking like, damn, this ain't gonna last. This just in. Even though it wasn't a bad show, it just wasn't the show he would have left LA and he
to go and do
that bad. Right. So saw that coming, man, and he has a little time he has time to work with in terms of still getting paid by ESPN, develop what's next. He's certainly in the running for Undisputed, depending on how they really do that. But they're talking about that rotating partnership.
What they're doing at ESPN, they might do at FS1.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Which they actually got from Skip. So I want to clarify. Everybody thinks Stephen A. started this.
Back in the day, that's what Skip used to do.
That's what Skip used to do on Cold Pizza.
People don't remember that. Cold Pizza was always like Woody Page or Stephen A. or
the Stu twins. I remember them.
I know you're talking about.
God, I forget. And they're going to kill me.
Monty Jones was on. A lot of people would be
I was on it. I used to come on there. Yeah, so it was a thing before Stephen A. revamped it, and now Skip may go back to it.
Let me ask you this. Do you feel like the way, because I feel like the Pat McAfee thing happening and then all of these cuts happening and Stephen A. starting his own show, I feel like none of these are coincidental.
Oh, no, it's not.
Right? I'm like, okay, well, they had to pay this guy however much they had to pay him for him to walk away from that FanDuel deal, which shout out to him for being comfortable enough to do that. But then at the same time, you got, look, Stephen A. launches his own thing on YouTube. Like, do you feel like Pat McAfee, in the same way that Skip and Stephen A. kind of changed what moves the needle in traditional TV ratings on sports networks with debate, by the way, PTI were the first to kind of do that. But do you feel like Pat McAfee's changing the sports broadcasting industry?
Yeah, he's the one that shows the proof of concept the best in sports. You combine that with the Paul brothers, you combine that with Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
then it starts getting crazy.
Right, but in sports it's like...
It's McAfee. And the beautiful thing is, I keep going back to it, he ain't even raised his hand to do it. But you know what he was doing? He didn't know it. He was falling in alignment where the industry had to go. So let's go way back to like 98, 99, when Bill Gates first said content is king. And everyone's heard that.
Right.
But we didn't really understand it because we didn't have the proper mediums and the proper conduits to do that. So content is king before social media is really big meant what? I stay in the studio longer, my show is longer. What's content is king? But what he really meant then, and I was just at a summit speaking in Silicon Valley about this, where all the tech gurus, CEOs are talking, VCs now, that this world, especially sports media, is going to change and morph into everyone is a creator and everyone is a channel. Now, some people are already pushing back, probably thinking, I ain't a channel, I'm not a creator.
Everybody is, though.
If you got an Instagram, oh no, let's go old school, Facebook, you like OG.
You're a content creator, technically.
Yes, if someone is following you,
they're giving you attention. If you post something, someone's giving that some sort of attention. You might get 2 likes.
There you go.
That is content.
You may get 2 likes, but if you talk about interaction, engagement, did someone slow down on it?
Right.
There.
Yeah.
Because that's what they look on the back end.
For sure.
They're trying to measure those metrics, and they're like, oh, that was interesting. Okay, now we're going to change your feed, your algorithm for that. Point being, you are a creator. On a grandest scale, that is Pat McAfee. He just started to plug away, doing a 3-hour show every single day, and falling into alignment where everything had to go. So now everything is going that way.
And very unedited, very unhinged when it came to the language he's using. And it was like, oh, this guy doesn't work for nobody. So he could say whatever the fuck he wants.
And it was sick. And I mean, I'm watching.
And he played, you know.
I'm watching one of my contemporaries doing the same thing, broadcasting.
Right.
Played ball like I did. And then I'm watching him in a tank top curse about the same topic that I'm over here, hello, in a suit, looking all prim and proper.
Right. It's like, who's the fans going to want to see? They want to see the uncut version of that? Or
Right. Yeah. I wanted to see that. So I'm like, getting off the studio desk, everyone is bowing down to me. Oh, look, Marcellus is on network TV, linear cable, respect, which it is.
Well, of course.
It's a different animal.
If it wasn't, Pat McAfee wouldn't be on ESPN if it didn't matter. Because it does still matter. Because he took a lot of people think he walked away from, maybe a little bit more money.
No, they got that wrong too.
Did they?
Oh, let me tell you. All right, so let's just say the FanDuel deal is $120. If it's $120, that's what they reported, and then he gets $85 from ESPN. Everybody already initially kind of ran with it the wrong way. $120 from FanDuel is, here, Pat, do everything else with it. Pay
your staff. Pay the whole crew. Pac-Man Jones, everybody.
All of them.
Yeah.
And run that operation, and you deal with all that, and the tax attorneys and the audit. Or I give you $85 million.
And then we pay your crew.
And then I go, AJ, come here. You come in here next. Nobody talking about his deal. AJ, here's your 5-year, 25, whatever it may be. So everybody starts getting that. It grows greater than the $120 he got from FanDuel. Right. And everybody's secure. Everyone gets their health insurance through somebody else. It ain't on Pat McAfee's diamonds, etc. All these things, the benefits, like, it's insane. So he took a better deal on top of a grander platform.
And he's going to be able to do so much. Like, if he just hosted the ESPYs, they threw him in last minute. And he killed it.
He killed it. That's the thing. Like, he still gets to do what he's doing, but he also gets that turbo boost, that nitrous from ESPN.
By the way, shout out to AJ Hawk for never having to leave his house. And just, they somehow did such a good job. Because, I'm so against Zoom content. Like, when we do interviews and stuff, for the most part, if someone...
Yeah, I noticed that when we were setting it up. You're like, bruh.
If someone... come on it's over like, here. Look, like, if Drake was like, we have to do Zoom.
I ain't Drake, so that's what you said.
But you're in town, Like, I think we've maybe done 2 or 3 Zoom interviews in the last 3 years. I think one of them was Tyrese.
You let Tyrese off the hook? He from LA?
No, but we did that more for the radio
Drake
show.
got a spot in LA too. So who you letting off the hook? These cats live in LA, dog.
TLC.
All right, man.
T-Boz and
it's hard to get all three of them together.
Left Eye passed away. T-Boz and Chili. But yeah, it wasn't. What was the other one? Oh, yeah, and then but for my shit, I think that's the only two. And then Goody Mob. They were in Atlanta, and it was middle of the pandemic.
Okay.
So this was like early pandemic.
They don't dance no more. Okay, I give you some of that. But
they've done a good job of figuring out a way to make the remote thing work.
Oh yeah, ESPN does that. Everybody does.
Nobody even notices anymore.
Yes, because the pandemic.
But I think in the hip hop space, people notice.
Really?
Yeah, like when you're not doing like an in-person interview in the music space, people notice.
That's a great point.
But sports, we're so used to seeing everybody. Mike Wilbon's in Arizona, or
it's a conditioning.
Kornheiser's in DC, and
And so, just kind of finish your point and finish what we were talking about. Everyone's going to become a creator. You already are, but you're going to become you're going to lean into it and really realize that's who you are. Even if you're an old lady just sitting there showing pictures of your grandkids, you're a creator. What comes from that is now you're going to all understand you have to license that out. And what ESPN just bought into was the first licensing of a creator.
Yeah.
So now it's a proof of concept on YouTube, second most Googled, which Google owns YouTube, but second most used search engine is YouTube.
Right.
Behind Google, which owns
they own both.
YouTube.
Yeah.
So what they are doing is they're like, we're creating what has to be created, which are creators.
Right.
Now, traditional media, whether that's linear cable or traditional media, has to now buy into all of us because we are where the people are. So reason I took off my suit ultimately is I was making $1.9 million. I hate this world where we can't tell kids and people how much you're making. Like in football, everybody know how much you make, right?
Everybody.
They
know every little detail, every little clause.
Yeah, 0.0.
Well, if he makes the Pro Bowl this year, that's an extra $500K. Or Kyler Murray has to study.
Right. And then I get into that was funny. These thin, these fragile egos or fragile industry of this.
Well, and we saw a lot of these salaries of the guys who just got fired, and you were like, God.
Yeah. I'm like, why are we hiding?
These guys, like Keyshawn Johnson was eating.
Not was. He signed a 5-year deal and only did 1 year of it. He's getting paid for the next 4 years.
When I saw the Keyshawn Johnson number, and listen, the morning show was decent. It wasn't great. Keyshawn is a decent, for obviously a legendary player. He's done a great job.
My dog. That's my dog.
Yeah, listen, LA legend, SC legend.
Oh, here come my butt.
But when I saw that number, I was like, oh.
You forgot Keyshawn always hit him over the head.
Oh,
whether it was his football contract, Tampa Bay.
His agent.
I think he's his own agent.
Whoever
he agency
is negotiating his shit. I said, oh, man, good for him.
But the real of that is he got that deal. God, let me untangle this for y'all. So Max is making that big first take money.
Right.
Then they're like, all right, Stephen A. and him ain't going to mix water and oil.
Because they ended up putting Max on with Keyshawn, right?
Yeah,
with that morning show, yeah.
So this is how it is. Keyshawn was already there.
They got rid of the Zubin guy, right?
He got sick and then it just left or something like that. So then Max comes in, but Max making first take money.
That's the most expensive morning show ever.
Right.
For a radio show.
Right.
Of all time.
So then Keyshawn sitting there like, he came to my hood. This is my show. Whose name is first? Keyshawn?
Yeah.
So he used that as leverage. That's how he got that dough.
Oh.
It's games.
So you were making 1.9.
I was making 1.9, which is, I'm in A- territory. Most people you see don't make that.
And were you in LA or you were going to Connecticut?
LA.
Okay.
All LA, which was great. It was a great fit for my life. It's just, I plateaued. First of all, I'm the realist. It's just like being an athlete. I knew when I was sorry.
Right.
Now, everyone else will say it before me, but I acknowledge it when y'all saying it too. When an athlete's coming down the hill, he knows it. He just ain't going to admit it.
He won't admit it.
Everyone else is going to say it. Mm-hmm. So I knew I had plateaued because the 3 big dogs in my industry, I never could be like them. And that's a positive for them and just a difference for me. Stephen A., Skip, and Colin. So this is how I look at life, man. It's the science of life. I'm like, all right, all 3 of them didn't play at the highest level. So there's a different level of communication and investment, right? Then I'm like, all right, they all go places I wouldn't go because I'm not trying to be condensed into that great headline that's spicy. I don't go in on the cat.
You'll notice a lot less of the crueler takes coming from actual people who played.
Right, exactly. So I was like, damn, I'm not a hot take artist. And people think that's with a negative connotation. I'm like, no, that's just a brand. We're all in the circus, just different tents. My tent is not that. So I was like, so how much can I make at my tent? Now I started looking around. I was like, think you making the most in this tent, bro. So I was like, do you bet again my next negotiation was going to be a haircut using the pandemic and
of course
all this stuff? So I was like, Then I'm looking at my neighbors. I'm like, these suckers are going downstairs in these content houses, destroying life and moving in next to me. So I was like, all right. We talked through the negotiation. Basically, I started my own show downstairs in my house. I'm just going downstairs.
So it was your decision to leave FS1. So
yeah,
you left on your own terms, both times.
Well, if they were paying me $10 million, I would have stayed.
I'm saying, but both times, leaving ESPN and FS1, you left on your own terms.
Oh yeah, like there are other opportunities and shows for me to go there.
Yeah. No, but you were like, hey, I'm going to move on to FS1 because I have a place where maybe I can showcase who I am more.
Yeah.
And then once the FS1 thing ran its course.
Yeah, free agency. Like you got other offers. Are they better offers?
Right.
Here's my mind at leaving FS1 was this. There was 3 levels of me landing the plane. The first one was we not doing Speak for Yourself anymore because Whitlock's not here, who designed that whole show. He was there from the beginning.
Were you there when it became? You weren't there when it became Speak.
No, that's when I was out because they were telling me about that.
Right.
And I was like, damn, I'm going backwards in life. No slight to them. Because I already did Sports Nation. And I was like, I've already done the
4-person panel, all that. You've been there, done that.
I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
The top layer. We're going to talk about Cowboys. We're going to talk Lakers. I've done that. And I was like, damn, I got so many more muscles to flex that I won't get to flex in that format on this show. But they paying you so much. They paying you to be in that velvet coffin.
Right.
Like, just die slowly with us and shut up.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I was like, damn. Level 2 was the fact that the offer wasn't going to be as grand as my imagination of being out here, being on YouTube, letting brands plug into me, sponsors plug into me, going direct to consumer. And number 3 was, frankly, we started talking about other shows, building a show out in my home, which we started. First Things First, which I love, but it's in New York. It was conversations of it coming to LA. It didn't happen. Then I was like, now I'm chasing money because the only reason I'm gonna do this is because they're paying me. I would never want to be in New York away from my kids. I would never want to go over here and be away from my kids and just travel and do the circuit. I've done that, but I don't want to do that. And then, using my network and knowing what I know and wanted to lean into my foundation, I said, you know what? Just do your own thing. Regain
do the
your
work,
voice.
man.
Yeah, regain your voice.
Come.
And then let's roll.
And the YouTube's doing well.
It is, man.
And you got,
almost 6 months.
Do you have somebody handling your brand partnerships and your sponsorships, or do you do a lot of that yourself? Or do you?
Yeah, someone's handling it, but I'm always CC'd. I'm always chiming in. I know my own secret sauce.
Did they get you Blue Chew yet? The Blue Chew? Are you Blue Chewed up yet?
What is that?
You got to get that Blue Chew, man.
What is that?
They sponsor our show.
Oh, is that some food or something?
It's a
dip.
It's like a dick pill.
My wife said, "Get that boy that
same active ingredient as Viagra and Cialis. Use the promo code Bootleg.
Oh.
And you'll get a month for free.
That boy smooth with that. Okay.